What's up, Tutorinos? Welcome back to another episode of the Game Addicts Podcast, the show where we talk about the modern and retro video games that we play and collect. I am your podcast player, Brando, and today, well, it's a bit of a bittersweet episode because we've already recorded this episode once. Now, if any of you guys have been listening to us for any amount of time, you'll know that there was an episode way back, like last year for like Thanksgiving, where Mike and I, we pre-recorded an episode for that holiday. You know, we did it during our extra live stream. And that entire episode, it was like weird. Our voices were weird. They were like really low and in octave and everything. And it was pretty much unusable because the audio keeps clipping, right? And man, it is so frustrating when that happens. Well, so like, all right, whatever. We'll power through. We'll meet together the night before Thanksgiving, which is on Thursday. That's our normal launch day, right? So we're going to get together and we're going to record. And, instead of it just being us chilling out, and I think what we did at the time, review bombing was big in the news. You know, review bombing, Fallout, review bombing, whatever. Review bombing like actual good games, like Red Dead Redemption was getting, 2 was getting review bombed. So we review bombed some of the really negative reviews on some of the highest rated games of all time. It was a fun episode. You know, we had a lot of fun with it. But it's completely unusable, you know. It's on, I believe it is on the YouTube channel. One of these days one of these days I won't release it because it's awful. We'll just redo that concept later on. So what's going on? Well, it's something to do with how the interface that I have, well, and it works as another interface too, because our friends over at Podcastrophe have dealt with this too. It even does it during the middle of a broadcast or a recording or capturing, however you want to put it. It'll change the octave of your voice. It's however the interface communicates with Windows 10. And I fixed it once, and it didn't do it for a long time. So that episode, we did the episode for Extra Life, and that was how we started that stream, was with the podcast. And okay, so this episode's unusable. So then we recorded an episode for Thanksgiving, where I pretty much reviewed Red Dead Redemption 2. And it did it then too. So then I had to get up early, Thanksgiving, listen to the episode. I believe the episode is called Podcursed. It's one of my worst episodes I've ever done because I'm sitting here in this game room at 8 o'clock in the morning, so frustrated with this crap, having to record something because I want to put something out for you guys. Now, I obviously couldn't, I didn't have to. We miss weeks every once in a while, and it happens. Life happens. No one's going to cry and complain to us because we missed a week. But I was determined at this point. I'm going to make this happen. It did it during the middle of that, but the audio didn't clip. I was using a different program to record. I was using Audacity instead of Streamlabs. I was just doing audio. I was at that point. I'm like, screw video. I don't care. I don't have my face on. And it did it, but I was able to fix it because I can change the pitch, the octave of the voice. I was able to find the right setting and fix it, and everything was fine for that episode. Well, we recorded this episode for 134, and it did it again. I even did a test, and the test sounds perfect. Like where I just hit record. How do we sound? Do we sound okay? Okay, cool. Let's go live, and let's let's stream live to the masses, and let's record the episode. And I went back to I was uploading the episode to YouTube and whatever, and again, I went to go edit the audio for the podcast, and I heard it. I'm like, no. Because I sound like that, but he doesn't, because I'm capturing his call from Discord. So what I'll do, I'll just show you guys. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Now, I'm using a different microphone. I'm using my old Samson condenser mic, which picks up a mouse fart. So I do apologize if you hear a little bit of more of a sensitive mic, hear mouse clicking, hear me moving the mic like that. Hear my kid yelling in the background because he's not getting his way. Hearing a cat meowing at the door because cats want in this room so bad because this is like the only room that they're not allowed to be in. So I'm just going to show you for a fact. It's like a 40-second clip. We were talking about our awesome cups that we had made, and you'll hear my voice and you'll hear his voice and you'll hear him talking more than me. I probably could have picked a better clip but I'm just like, oh, hey, look, we're talking about our cups. And I really want to showcase these cups. So, yeah, check this out, guys.
We never actually officially have showed off.
I know.
Like our cups. Mike was so gracious and had these cups made for us. And
by a wonderful girl that we work with.
Yeah.
I believe that her thing is Cardinal Delights.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys are into custom, I mean, she makes tons of different sizes.
Yes, custom tumblers. She makes
It's basically tumblers.
Yes,
but she does other things.
Yeah. She's done mugs. She's got like the little skinny ones. My wife wants a skinny one.
She also does some woodworking and stuff too.
Yeah.
Very lightly, very, but not very much. But the tumblers, yeah, and she does local shows.
Mm-hmm.
Next couple months for her are pretty packed. And
Yeah. All right. So you heard it, right? You heard my voice. I'm like way down here, and you can hear the little clips, and you hear bits of audio. It sounds awful, man. I don't know what to do. Because it did it to me, like I think a few months ago, back in April or something, where it did it to me. And check this crap out. The actual day that we recorded that episode, I've been doing a video game content for our YouTube channel. I've been playing through Mass Effect, one of my favorite games of all time, one of my favorite series of all time. And I got to an episode where I was going to play through the Bring Down to Sky DLC. And I jumped right into it, and I didn't do my check, man. I didn't do it. I didn't think about it. I was early in the morning. I'm like, let me squeeze this in. Let me get this out so I can get this recorded. And it did it. I lost the entire episode because then I saved right after, and I can't go back and replay that. Thankfully, it's just the DLC that has no bearing on the plot whatsoever. The only thing is that there's a little bit in that carries over into the game later on, like the Mass Effect 3 or something. You get a little cameo because of that. And I lost that entire gameplay thing, all of it, an hour and a half or whatever, however long it took me. I beat that thing, and I lost the whole dang thing. It's so frustrating. Thankfully, it hasn't done it. Well, anyway, I have quit using the interface until I can figure this out. I'm using the Samsung. It is what it is. You guys are going to have to put up with some extra sound. I've tried to turn down the volume on the microphone. I have to hold it. I'm holding it with a stand because I can't find the connector for my arm. Pod cursed, part 2. Yeah, no. Guys, this week I'm actually going to... There is a lot of news that has come out from Gamescom that's really cool to talk about. Me and Mike are going to talk about that next week. Yeah, that's going to be next week, guys, that me and Mike are going to talk about like the weird Death Stranding peeing stuff and the cool Dragon Ball Z video. The Avengers gameplay was awesome. But we're going to talk about all that next week. This week, it's the final part, the final chapter of the Gaming Pickups Revisited. Basically, what I've been doing, if this is your first time, I used to do pickup videos for my old podcast, Journey to Comics. That's where this podcast spawned from because we were on their YouTube channel. On there, it was exclusive. What we did is that we had the Journey to Comics podcast. And we were starting to branch out because we wanted to encompass other topics. I wanted to do a video game podcast. He wanted to do a movie podcast. And so we were like, okay, let's house that on the YouTube channel. But before that, I was doing pickup videos because I was growing my gaming collection, and I wanted an outlet for my video games. And because the YouTube channel we didn't really have anything there, I'm like, you know what? Let's use that. I'll do content for that. And now that I'm not a big part of the Journey to Comics group anymore, I now am doing a new show with one of the co-founders, Nate. But I'm not like a key member. I'm not involved in the inner circle. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just helping out. I'm helping out some friends. And but I wanted to get that stuff and those pickup videos over onto this channel. Because that's what started this podcast, essentially. Because I was doing those pickups, I was talking about games, I was talking about why I bought Game A, I was talking about, hey guys, I bought Mass Effect, even though I already own it. But I mean, this basically, I would sit here and I'd hold the game and I'd tell you why I bought it, I'd tell you a little bit about it if I knew anything. Maybe I BS my way through, I don't know. But I'd tell you why I bought it, why I added it to my collection. And we actually started doing, eventually, I quit doing the videos. And we just started incorporating that into the podcast itself, or like one of the earliest segments that we would do in the show is pickups. Have you bought anything? Have we added anything to the collection? And while Mike and I have both slowed down immensely with growing our gaming collection, first it was these pickup videos. And if you look in the back catalog, if you go all the way back into the archives, you'll see episodes called Gaming Pickups Revisited, and that's exactly what these are. It's me sitting here. If I'm trying to fill a week, if we don't have a show to produce, let me put these out. Let me get these out. This is extra content. This is an episode for you guys, because you guys, while we would do segments of, I bought this game and this game, this is like a full episode of getting to know my collection before this podcast started. If I'd have had this podcast back then, I never would have made these videos, but I didn't. So I made these videos. They're here. You guys get to see game by game how I grew my collection, what's all in my collection. Some of them I don't actually have anymore. I sold some stuff, but it's still pretty cool to kind of go back and I have a lot of it. I still have most of them. However, I'm going to play that right now. I only have 2 videos left in the entire series. This is the last episode of these. It's it. And the last episode had Mike on it. He came over and he showed me some of his pickups, and we filmed it. We stood right here, and you see the camera's like way back there. It's like right there on the bookshelf, and we're standing right here facing it, and we just show it up. So the first video, I do believe, is, and how I would do it, I would wait a while or a month. At one point I was buying a lot of games every month, and then I started slowing down and I started waiting until I had about 30 to show, to fill up like a 20-minute video, and then I put it out. So the first one is Winter Spring 2016, and what this is all the games that I bought pretty much from January or after Christmas era, and until March. I think March is when I filmed the video. I put it out in April, and then the second video is Spring Summer. So the first one here that you guys are going to see is Winter Spring 2016, and I'll let myself take it away. What's up, everybody? Brando back here again with Brandon's Game Room, right here on the Journey into Comics YouTube channel, and got another pickup video here. Quite a few. I think it's about 61 or so, or something like that. Basically, you're going to be seeing the same kind of video that I did for the last one, because I don't have my tripod right now. And I looked all around for it. Can't set it up. The older way I did it, when I didn't have my tripod, I used my shelf. Well, I've rearranged the game room, so we're going to do this with kind of like with the table style, kind of like the Adam Krolik style, but you know what? It'll get the job done, and you'll get to see close-up look at these games. First up here, Conker's Bad Fur Day. Finally have this. I definitely overpaid for it. I paid pretty much asking price because I never come across it, and it was one of those that I'm just trying to finish up my N64 collection with where I kind of wanted to be at, and that was one of the ones I needed. So I went ahead and picked that up. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2. Again, with this, kind of just found this. Don't really I have the first Advance, the Tactics of Advance, so it's really cool to pick this up. Get that into the collection, but coming down here, PS3, Deadly Premonition Director's Cut. Really cool, weird title. It's one of those. It's almost like a throwback to some of those weird old, kind of bad, survival horror games. But it's so bad it's good kind of thing, and has move support and everything. I've never even tried the move, but definitely glad to pick that up. And then one of the launch titles, I do believe, for PS3, if not close to it, Lair. And that game right here was under $1. It was 79 cents. So yeah, I just picked it up to kind of expand the PS3 collection and kind of have some of the launch titles. Coming down here, original Xbox, Red Dead Revolver. It's a pretty fun game. I played this back in the day on the PS2. Right now I have Red Dead Redemption. I ended up getting the 360 version. after getting the PS3 version originally, but I got the 360 version from a friend, and it had Undead Nightmare on there and on the disc, so it's not DLC, which is always good. So, you know, I'm just keeping it in the family for the Xbox, and I got Red Dead Revolver for the Xbox for a couple bucks. Not bad. Coming over here to the 360, ended up picking up Eternal Sonata, really neat, quirky little Japanese game here. I like getting this stuff for the 360. I think that also came to the PS3 as well, but you don't see too much of that quirky Japanese stuff on the 360. Coming down here, we have the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I can't get the camera to focus, but anyway, cool side-scroller beat 'em up. Then we have some Game Boy games: Wario Land 3, Donkey Kong Land 2, Final Fantasy Adventure, my bad, looking at it through the viewfinder, and Mega Man 2. Really good games here. Mega Man 2 is actually a little bit like damaged or color damaged. It's not really, you can't really pick it up too much on camera, but to the eye it definitely looks a bit darker. I actually cleaned it up a bit, and I'm not really too sure why that is, if that's sun damage or what. But coming over here, a couple of advanced games: Golden Sun, Fire Emblem, Advance Wars 2, and the DS copy of FF3. Pretty much, I found that for pretty cheap, and I have DS cases, and for some of my games, I do just print labels off, just to make them look good on the shelf. But my printer's down, so can't print anything, so that kind of sucks. Coming down here, Zone of the Enders 2, a second runner, awesome series. It's a shame that it didn't get more love, but glad they picked that up and added to it. Another PS2, Eco, a game I didn't play back in the day, but heard a lot about, so glad to also have that in there. And you know, when you're kind of collecting for like some of these systems that you kind of want to choose to collect for, there are certain titles you definitely want to kind of pick up along the way, certain ones that were sort of iconic for that system. And if there's any game other than like Ratchet and Clank, or what's the other one I'm thinking of, Jak and Daxter, God of War, that is iconic for the PS2, it would be Eco and its sister sequel, Shadow of the Colossus. Now the sun's coming out to play as I'm shooting this video, but come on up over here, PS2, Drakengard, fun title, Square Enix, kind of a beat 'em up. Over here, Klonoa 2. I don't have Klonoa 1 on physical copy, I have it digitally. That's because it is so freaking hard to come by. I've seen one copy and it didn't have the original case, and they wanted $70 for it, so passed that up, but I got that, so happy to have that. Coming down here, Mech Assault 2, Lone Wolf. Got the cool little limited edition foil look to it. Is it foil? I thought it was. Yep, foil. It was hard to tell with the light beating on it like that. But coming down here, Harry Potter, Sorcerer's Stone. No real attachment to that game other than the fact that I just happen to have Chamber of Secrets, so finished the set. WWF Warzone. The thing with this is that I actually do think this game is a big pile of crap, but it was my first ever PS1 game. So I no longer had it. In fact, when I got my N64, I came with like a bundle of games, and then Warzone was one of them. So I'm like, alright, I don't need to rebuy it, but found it for a couple bucks. And so I just kind of decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pick it back up and just have it for, for collector's sake. I don't really care if it's the greatest hits or Black Label, but, now I have the original PS1 game that started off my collection. Twisted Metal 3, well, that sort of completes my set. I got 1, 2, and 4, so now I got 3. 1 and 2 are definitely the better ones. 3 started like the downtrend, and 4 was just absolutely horrible in my opinion, but Gex 3, great game here. I love all the Gex games. Really wish he would make some sort of a retro comeback unlike the newer systems. He was definitely interesting, and especially with TV sort of dying off, I think it'd be really funny to see him kind of fight for like the TV, keeping the TV alive. But last PS1 game here, Hot Shots Golf. Good game here. I have Hot Shots Golf too, so I had to get the first one, right? And I remember playing the demo for Hot Shots Golf. That was really good. But coming all the way back up here, I got Sleeping Dogs for the PS4 Definitive Edition and Rise of the Tomb Raider for Xbox One. Now, I got Sleeping Dogs for free through PS1, or PS Plus, my bad. I got it free through PS Plus. I always wanted to try it, and then I ended up getting it for free, and it was probably one of the best free games I got out of that program. I fell in love with that game. It's not quite GTA 5 or anything like that, but you know what? It's damn fun. and it kind of reminds me of like, definitely what the True Crime series could have been. And of course, this is Sleeping Dogs is supposed to be True Crime 3, but it definitely got an overhaul of look and like a name change. NES titles here that I had to cross out. Sun coming into play here. Contra. Castlevania with the a little bit of a torn corner. Too bad. And Battletoads. So, NES collection coming along. A couple of really key titles there. Coming down here, Star Ocean Second Evolution. It's a little beat up as well. The label is kind of got some damage in there, but hey, it adds character, right? Tactics Ogre, Patapon. Good pickups here. The PSP is definitely one of my favorite systems to collect for. There's just so many great titles for that. So many different titles. And it's really a shame because I really don't feel like they sold that many games on it, but they definitely had a lot of systems sold, so they were putting more games on there than what it was really selling. But coming down here, I got the Witcher 2, Assassins of Kings, Enhanced Edition, silver box. Pretty cool price on this. I got this for a really good price. And, I've been wanting to check out The Witcher 3, but I'm like, I want to play The Witcher 2 because that was the only other one on console. So I got it for a pretty good price and picked that up. I did try it out, and I'm really looking forward to getting into that and playing both of those games. GameCube. Really kind of slacked off on getting GameCube stuff. I'm not seeing a whole lot here lately, so when I see something that I want, I definitely snag it up. And this was only like $2 or something like that. It was crazy, but it was I'm gonna botch this really bad. Batten Kaitos, however you pronounce that. Pretty cool, weird. I think it's like a card playing RPG if I remember correctly when I tried it out, but never played it back in the day. But I'm always on the lookout for some pretty cool titles, and especially stuff that only came out for GameCube. And we have Dynasty Gundam 3. So this completes the set that I have, and of course I got it for the 360. Again, like I said before with the Eternal Sonata, the only reason I did was because it's really neat to get these weird, quirky Japanese titles for the American system, essentially, So definitely pick those up, and a lot of times, it's definitely said that the third-party games played better on the they played better on the Xbox than they did the PS3. And for the most part, you're right. But as the PS3 development went longer and the system went longer, people started figuring that system out, and it gets harder and harder to tell. You have to put them side by side and play them side by side to really get a good look at what version of it's better, So it's like, for example, like GTA 5, it is so hard to tell. So really what I do is that I just kind of pick a version and go for that, and then I get all the games for that the best I can. So like, for example, I've got another series coming up that I decided to buy on the PS3, but I could have got them on the 360, but I just decided to go for PS3 simply because I'm trying to make the collections a little bit even. I'm not trying to get I'm not focusing 100% on PS3, and I'm not focusing 100% on Xbox. I'm kind of spreading the love out between the two systems. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the table and start all over again because I got more games. So I will see you soon. You're going to get a jump cut probably. And I am back with a full table again. Starting off with Dead Space series, I ended up getting all 3 of them on the PS3. As I said, I just started I got Dead Space 1. Kind of decided I was just going to get it for the PS3, and ended up getting them all for, it was an okay price, let's put it that way. They were actually cheaper on the 360, as I found out as I started looking for them, which it's kind of a bummer, but I kind of chose my battle and said, PS3 is where Dead Space is going to be for me. Over here also, I got Battlefield Bad Company 2, and Battlefield 3. All 3 of these games for me were like $9 or $10. Seriously, I think Battlefield 3 was like $250, and I think the most expensive one was the original Bad Company, which was like $4 something. But yeah, same thing. I just had to see the price, and I think I found Battlefield 3 first, which is the only one that I've actually put time into and played. But I decided that's where that title and that series was going to be, so that's kind of where I went with. A couple more PS3 before I move on. Catherine finally got me. Catherine, really neat puzzle game. Definitely a little provocative, but a really cool game, and it sets itself apart from the rest of these action shooter stuff that was really popular for the PS3 and 360. Speaking of shooters, Resistance Fallen Man, and then Rage. Of course, Resistance is a PS3 exclusive, and Rage is developed by the guys that made like Wolfenstein and stuff like that. But essentially, these games are like $2 a piece, so couldn't say no to that. Couldn't say no at all. Coming over here to some PS1 stuff. Let me reposition. PS1 stuff. Grand Theft Auto double pack with it's the director's cut with the London pack. Now, interesting enough, I already have GTA 1. I needed London, so I bought London and took it home, and it was the original disc. It was GTA 1, and I took it back, and they just happened to buy it wrong. And so they gave me back my money, and the guy that helped me out both times ended up seeing this come in, remembered that I was looking for it, set it aside just for me, just in case I wanted it, because apparently that's how often I go into that store. He even knew me by name. So my local disc replay knows who I am, and I'm almost not quite maybe a local celebrity, but good enough for them to recognize my face. I'm in there enough. Resident Evil Director's Cut with the Resident Evil 2 demo. I already have the big box copy original of Resident Evil, and I have the greatest hits of the Director's Cut, but I saw this for a few bucks and said, yep, gotta get it. And really, I'm just a diehard Resident Evil fan, especially the old school titles, 1 and 2 especially. 3's good too, but man, that first one is so lovably bad. I love it, and it's bad, and that's why it's good. 007, Tomorrow Never Dies. I owned this game back when I was a kid. It's not a great game, but I owned it, so I had to pick it up. And WCW Nitro, pretty horrific wrestling game too. Man, it was almost like the wrestling games were just terrible. Besides the one on like on the ones on the N64 made by AKI, the WCW and WWF games. But then the SmackDown series eventually did get good. Coming over here, we got some Xbox love. Got Cold Fear, and I got Forza Motorsport. Really, I've been focusing more on like exclusives for the original Xbox, but the original Xbox collecting is freaking cheap right now. So if you have any desire to get original Xbox games, now is the time, because they have some rare games on my disc replay, and I'm talking like, stuff like the Guy game, and what was the other one I saw? It was the Dark Alliance 2, the Fatal Frame 2, and really they're like $20 for, and that's for your more rare uncommon titles. So that's unbelievable. Over here I got Far Cry Instincts, which was the console version of the original Far Cry, and then I got Far Cry 2 for the 360. So good to get those bundles. I'm really looking to get into the Far Cries and try them out. I liked a lot what I played of Far Cry Instincts, and I really didn't get to play too much of 2, but it does work, so that's enough for me for right now. Back on the Xbox, I got Morrowind, Elder Scrolls 3. Got the Game of the Year edition, and got a good price on it. So, that one's running at that store kind of like at around like $15, and I ended up getting it for $12. So good deal on that. Outrun 2, of course, it's made by Sega. It's sort of a consoleized version of the old Outrun arcade, and I think I'm not sure if this one had an arcade release or not, but fun, man, really fun. Brings back memories of playing those old arcade games. I used to play Outrun, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was the one on the motorcycle that Sega made. I can't remember that. I know you can play it in Shenmue. And when I found that out, I spent like all my time playing that damn game. But Half-Life 2, Half-Life 3 not confirmed, but Half-Life 2, got that on the Xbox. I'm going to have to pick up the original Half-Life now, because I just happened to see this for like a couple bucks, and I picked it up. Blinks. Heard not much about Blinks. I've heard it was kind of a failed concept for a mascot, and you know what? It's pretty freaking fun. I did have some fun playing it when I was testing it out. Then BioShock. The BioShock series has come to rest for me on the 360, and this one is just a little beat up, some cuts in the plastic, but finally tracked down the original BioShock, so now I got the complete set on the 360. Now, the last one over here is not a game, but it is the Collector's Edition Legend of Zelda The Complete Season, the cartoon from the old 80s cartoon. So, yeah, pretty cool. They picked this up. I got it for $4, brand new. And that's pretty much the rest of this table. I have 2 more games to show you, and they're on the PSP. But there are collector's editions, and I'm going to be setting that up separately, taking all the stuff out to kind of show you what I got and tell you about that story. So, yeah, second table, done. All right, here, last ones, and I got the premium editions of 2 of the Ys games, Ys Chronicles, or Ys 1 and 2 Chronicles, Ys 7, and everything that was in them. Now, I got both of these for $30, and I see them go for a lot higher than that. The condition of these is pretty damn good. For Ys 1 and 2, you know, it comes with a box. It's kind of like a holographic box. It's got like the images on the side actually form together, and so there's actually one that I'm missing, Ys, Oath, and Felghana, that I need to get. Condition's pretty damn good. This is still sealed, as you can see, for the soundtrack. And then for over here, Ys 7, so the same thing. This box is a little bit more beat up than the other one, but over here I got the soundtrack still sealed, map still sealed. I got the art book, still looking pretty good. Now the game was also sealed, but I did open it pretty much just to say that I did, because I believe games should be played, and there's not too many games that I would ever buy and keep them sealed. Like, if I get a really good deal on like a Chrono Trigger, FF7, FF6, or 3, maybe I would keep it as a keepsake. But if I'm going to track down something kind of like a Stadium Events or a little Samson, dude, I'm flipping that and buying more games. I don't have the nostalgia for that stuff. So definitely really cool thing to pick up here. How I got these is I actually went with my friend Mike. He's appeared on the podcast before. He wanted to get a PSP, and they happened to have the Emerald Green Metal Gear Solid PSP that came bundled in with a copy of Peace Walker. And you know, he decided to pick it up, and we were walking over to get him some games, notably like Crisis Core or Dissidia or Final Fantasy Tactics or something like that. And the guy behind the counter says, "Hey, these came with the system. I got these in here. I haven't put them out yet." And on the bottom, I think they had these 2-Star Oceans, like a Tales game, and then they had these 2 Ys games on the very bottom. And he kind of teased me and acted like he was going to buy them, and I'm like, "Dude, shut up! You don't even know how to pronounce it." So back off, man, back off. Really lucky that I got these in the condition that they're in. Once I found out about the pictures kind of going together, I found out that the Ys, Oath, and Felghana kind of goes in between them. So I got to pick that up now and complete that set. But yeah, Ys, man, series I didn't even know about before I started collecting, and now I'm really digging it, man. So that's all the games I bought the last few months.
And we're back. Yeah, the videos end a little bit abruptly because I'm cutting out the outros, essentially, where I just go, ramble on and then plug stuff. You guys don't need to hear me sitting there plugging stuff. So, yeah, that was that video. Those were those games. Man, I still have those Ys games. I'm so glad I still have those. And spoiler alert, I did track down that third one. And I've shared that story on the podcast, and I don't know if that's in the next pickup video. If it isn't, maybe I'll definitely talk about that. But first and foremost, I want to thank each and every one of you who listen to our podcast. Each and every one of you. There's like 1,500 of you that follow us on the Podbean app alone. Not to mention the people who listen on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio now. You know, this podcast has grown so much. And I mean, we're still small guys. We're just 2 Midwest gamers that just sit down and talk about gaming and hit that record button. We're no different from each and every one of you. But I want to thank each and every one of you guys for listening, because that means so much. So much to me, because I put so much of my heart and vision into this show. And I thoroughly enjoy podcasting. I thoroughly enjoy, not only do I get to, do like a radio thing, but I get to do whatever about my passion about video games. There's an outlet for it. You have no idea how excited I was like 6 years ago to discover the world of podcasts, because it really awakened that in me. I always wanted to do some sort of radio, but now I can do it, and the world is my oyster. I can do a podcast about anything that I want, and why not do a podcast about the one thing that I, is a central piece in my life more than anything, and that's gaming. So thanks to each and every one of you who listen on any of the platforms. Also, thank you to all the guys who watch on the live streams. We're starting to grow that. And to the guys that subscribe to us on YouTube. We're starting to grow that as well. I'm trying to put more gaming content. I'm trying to do more than just the podcast. I'm trying to, now that I have the ability, record some gameplay. And it's not going to be, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to stream and record the flavor of the month games. That's not me. I'm not going to play Call of Duties. I'm not going to play Fortnite. I'm not going to play Minecraft. I'm going to play games that mean something to me. I am going to try and do more first runs. I haven't done a lot of that. I did a premiere where I first did Spider-Man. And that was my first foray, and that was my first experiment, and I wasn't comfortable. If you watch that, I'm sitting there like this going, with my mouth open, going, wow. And that's all I can say. I'm like, this is amazing. This is awesome. And, but I want to do more of that. I did it with Red Dead, and it was cool. And right now, my plan is to do it for FF7 Remake, for Final Fantasy 7. And that game means so much to me that for the remake, I want to capture that. Mike said he wants to do it too, but I mean, I want to do it as well. I want to capture that when I'm alone and I want to play it. And that's the only other thing is that it's hard to always do that with brand new games because I want to sit back and relax and play it. And sometimes like the only ways that I can game more often is if I game in the living room where I can kind of be around the family. I'm accessible, I'm not, man, I just realized I got sunspot on me. I got sun coming through here. I need to close that blind. But anyway, we have one last video. Now this video is a long one. It's like a half hour, guys. But this is the last one. The last one we ever filmed, technically. I filmed one other pickup video after this. But I also forgot a whole stack of games. And didn't realize it till I was already done, had put everything up, put everything in alphabetical order, and put it all neat up on my shelves over here and on the shelves over here that you can't see. And then I realized it. I'm like, no. I already filmed it. And I'm like, well, maybe I could just do another one. But I'm like, no, I'm done for big batches. Kind of. I mean, I did get some games this year when our local store was supposedly going to be going out of business, and thankfully they didn't. They were allowed to stay in their location. It wasn't the fact that they were losing money. It was the fact that they had an issue with their landlord. How you have like plazas and stuff like that, and people who own that, they want to charge a certain amount of rent. They were able to come to an agreement, and they get to stay. And on such short notice, it was impossible for them to find a good spot in town. But we got to stay. They're still around. And I got some games on discount. So cool. So some of those ones that I was just waiting on. And I was looking to see if I could easily access some of the ones that I bought. I think I put them all up. It don't matter. None of them are like awesome, crazy, great games. They're just games that I've just have waited so long. Ones that I'm like, I need to pick that up. I need to pick this up. I need to pick that up. And I was able to get them all on discount. Without delay. I'm going to shoot it on over to the last pickup video. And this is spring and summer 2016. This is one of my biggest retro gaming pickups ever. And it was a good note to go out on as far as, pickup videos. Mike joins me for this, and we actually recorded a podcast right after this. And I think the episode that we did was like Hotbox 1X is like early on, man. This is like 2016, right? This is before we got in our own feed. This is before we started doing the podcast on a weekly basis. This is early days. So enjoy, guys. Really is cool to go back and look at some of these and watch along with you guys. Some of these, going back down memory lane, watching the whole East thing, remembering how I got that. It was a good time. But I'm going to shoot it on over to myself. Take it away, me. Hey guys, Brando here once again with another pickup, and I got a special guest. He's my co-host for the Game Addicts podcast. This is Mike, and basically, I'm going to be going through my pickups, and he's been collecting too, so we're going to go through some of his as well, and I'm going to let you start it off.
Ooh. Well, I'm going to start mine off with a bang. Actually, I believe you were present for this this one. I found a Super Mario All-Stars with Super Mario World.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it was actually quite underpriced.
Was it?
Yes, it was about $20 underpriced at Disc Replay.
You know what is like,
So
those little like 16-bit remakes, if you will, of the Mario games are awesome. And plus that also comes with Lost Levels.
Yeah.
Which is
awesome.
the original Mario 2. For me, my first one, now, some of these, I think I'm going to put in another video. I may have left it out, but I got the Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Ages, the 2 Zelda games for the Game Boy Color, and I got the manual as well. A good friend of mine, his wife had the games, but she was missing one of them. And I want to say she was missing Seasons. So I had one game and 2 manuals. Well, we finally went back to the store that had been closed down for a little while, and they had this, and I picked that up, and now completes that set. And along there, the other thing I bought there was just a really cheap copy of Steel Diver, which is like, it was like $1.79.
Yeah, it was real cheap.
Super cheap, really underrated game for the 3DS. This is one of those. It's like you use your fucking gyroscope for like the little what's that thing called? Is that a gyroscope?
For what? What do we do?
Like a submarine, the little thing you.
Oh, the
You know what I'm talking about.
yeah, it's a I know what you're talking
Periscope.
about. Periscope. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you use that for like, and it's a really neat little game, and for like, it's so cheap right now, so it's like, why not, man?
It's going to be worth quite a bit.
It might be, you know what?
I
It
assume.
might be, it may not be. The fact is, that it's a fun game, and like literally, no one really wants it.
All right, so I'm going to roll into Super Mario RPG. If you have never played this, you should definitely pick it up. This is a phenomenal game. It was a Square Enix basically did a Super Mario RPG. It was fantastic. Unfortunately, I must change the battery in this because it lost my save all the way to the last one.
At least it's not very hard to open them up. And,
right. Yes. And I'm going to go ahead and jump into our little Zelda. We went to Disc Replay after work, and I said, I don't care how much it is. If they have Link to the Past, I'm buying it. Fully expecting to not find it because I hadn't found it in forever. They had it for $20. So
that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And if anybody's wondering during this video, it is really hot in the game room. There's no AC back here, so if you see us like wipe our forehead, our brow, we turn the fan off just to do this video just for you guys. Now, you know what? I want to say that you mentioned how Nintendo partnered with Square for Mario RPG.
Yes.
I want to say that they partnered with somebody for the Oracle games as well. Don't quote me on it, but I think it was Capcom.
I don't know for sure.
I know it was at least something on the Game Boy that they partnered with Capcom on. The next one on my list, on the last video, I showcased the East games, and I did pick up the third one that I was missing that has the little linking picture in there. So when you put them all side by side, they make a neat little picture, just like some of the old school VHS tapes.
Yes.
So I got a story about this because I ordered this on Amazon. I found it for $30 in good condition. No pictures, so it's a crapshoot. You're rolling the dice.
You got so lucky.
I did. Well, and I messed with you too.
I know you did.
Because what I did was I simply I sent him a message saying, hey, I ordered it like this for $30 in good condition. It's not in good condition. And you go, uh-oh, what's wrong with it? I said, nothing, it's brand new. Everything is still sealed inside.
Oh, man.
Sealed, $30. Everything in here was sealed. Of course, I opened the game because that's how I am. If I'm going to play it, it's going to be open. If I do come across like something like Stadium Events sealed, I'm not going to open that crap. Come on.
Better not.
Yeah, if it's worth more than my ass, it's staying sealed.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm really excited to have that and add that to the collection.
All right, so I picked up some stuff randomly the other day. A lot, actually. Because Disc Replay, somebody turned in a PlayStation. So, I was looking through, and I actually needed to get my 12. Because I needed, the 2 free. I was at the cusp. So, I went ahead and obviously picked up Metal Gear Solid. That's a no-brainer. Fantastic game. I've always wanted to try this. When I was when I was growing up, it was on the demo disc, and I wanted to try it, and I never got the game because I could never find it. So I actually found it.
It's a very it's a mix. There's good and bad in that.
I figured, but it's an old PlayStation game.
Yeah.
And then Jet Moto 2.
Oh hell yeah!
I'll have all of them eventually. It's a good game. Then I found both the drivers in good condition, so I picked those both.
Those first 2 driver games really set the course
Yes,
for
they did.
like open world driving games we're going to be going.
Yep.
I mean, there would not have been a Grand
Great.
Theft Auto 3
If it wasn't for those.
if it
I
wasn't for
know.
driver, in my opinion.
And then Driver 2 is one of the first games where you're actually able to walk around the car and actually see the silhouette of your character.
Right, yeah.
And like the up top view
of Grand Theft Auto at the
2.
time, yeah. Because in Driver 1, you can't get out of your car. But
Right.
In 2, you can. For me, I did pick up the next 2 Resistance games. Pretty cheap right now. If you want to get into a good exclusive, all the Resistance games are made by, published by Sony and Insomniac. Really cool games to get. First-person shooters. For some reason, Resistance 3 is Move compatible. They just released the Move, so they're like trying to make it like, hey, if you bought a Move, you can play this game on here. You know what? I got a Move.
So do I. haven't even.
I've never even really messed with it, but really cheap. I think this one was like like $4, and this one was like $2.50.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
So I mean, really good deal there.
All right, 7 into. Now, as a kid, I was demo disc. As you know, growing up, PlayStation always had tons of demo discs. You could pick them up for next to nothing. So I would pick them up. That's what I gamed on for a long time before I was able to, other than I bought Jet Moto day 1. The Armored Core. I loved that game, and I never got to actually purchase it. So I have been on a very big hunt for all of them, no matter what. All I've been able to come across is Armored Core 2, which is actually really hard to play. With the new generation controller, it's like, oh my god. And then
You'll find that a lot of older games are really difficult to go back to after, we've been spoiled with how much they've really gotten like
Really? Yes.
3D games down now.
And then, so I looked up on the gaming price guide, the app, really good app, and I was looking up other Armored Core games because I knew that there were a few there. I didn't know there was that many. So I found the first time I've ever seen it, Armored Core 5. I found it and picked it up for a couple of bucks. It wasn't that bad. And then Armored Core 5 Verdict Day, and I really don't know if it's like a continuation of this or not.
Maybe like an expansion or DLC or something?
I'm thinking that it's basically this with an expansion on it.
Well, see, one thing that's interesting to know is that, I don't know if this one was. It doesn't look like it, but this one, our Verdict Day, was made by From Software.
Yeah.
And they're the guys that, of course, now they're more popular now for making the the Demon Souls games or Dark Souls games.
Yeah.
Really cool little hidden gem here. For the original Xbox, Cell Damage. This is like a Twisted Metal game, but it's more cartoony. It's wacky and ridiculous. It's like
Animaniacs meets
meets
Twisted Metal.
Yeah, pretty much, because this isn't like Warner Brothers or anything like that. There's no actual like major characters that you know of.
Right.
But it is just some completely wacky, made by EA of all people.
Yeah.
But I had to get it, and I'm on a big thing of like I want to kind of like get more of the original Xbox, other than just the exclusives. Because see, like a lot of people, they will go all third-party stuff Xbox because it was better, and I'm like, yeah, I got the PS2 and the GameCube. Sometimes for me, it's wherever I find it.
Yeah.
Like I think one game I thought about getting for the Xbox was like Freedom Fighters, but I always had it for the GameCube, so I'm like, I'm just gonna play it.
A lot of it is our area. I mean, our area does not carry that much of the GameCube, as we both know, because we're both hunting GameCube.
Or Dreamcast.
Yeah, Dreamcast. All right, so
good luck with collecting Dreamcast in our area.
So, Dishonored, I actually picked this up because of E3. I saw the new one, and I was like, holy crap, I have to play this game. It looks fantastic. I have only done a your 30-minute test to make sure the game works. I haven't dived into it because I've been really stuck on Final Fantasy Explorer still. But it looks like a great game. It's by Bethesda. It's going to be great quality. Bethesda always sends out great quality.
So next for me, These were sort of done kind of in a little bit of bunch, so I'm going to cover all of them here. First of all, Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2. For some reason, I just kept passing on it. I mean, it was one of those things where it's like around $20 mark. I need it. I want it. There's a lot of games in that category. Donkey Kong Country was like that for me for a while because even though I love the game, I played it a lot when I was a kid though. So it's like there wasn't a really big drive. I must get Donkey Kong Country. It was like whenever I find it, and I have nothing else to buy, I'll buy it. That's sort of the way this was. And then at our local disc replay, they keep a bin of hidden Game Boy games because
we're like the only ones that get into it. Nobody else does but us.
They'll put so many out, and then they will, when those sell off, they'll put more out.
Right.
Kirby's Dream Land 2. Had to pick this up because there was one day, I tell you what, I was out game hunting. And I game hunted over a course of 3 days. I've never done that before. So I went to the same stores multiple times.
Right.
I didn't know what I wanted. I was sort of scouting. Like, oh, if I find anything else, I'll come back for it. Multiple games, dude. I went to, for Metroid Prime 2 on the GameCube. Went to go buy it. Open it up, it's empty. Whatever.
I hate that.
So then I go to another store. They had this. It's gone. So I got it. It's actually a little bit of ate up too. It's got some character to it. No real label damage other than like in the corner, but it is what it is. Yeah, I'm just happy to finally have it. And then for the 64, Paper Mario. The back label is pretty nasty.
Bad.
But you know what? It is the front that counts for me.
Yes.
As long as this looks nice, I'm cool with it. Yeah, I'm really running out of big, major N64 games to buy, so I'm really happy to have finally crossed this off my list.
I need to pick up an N64 before that game. This replay now has a lot of games I want. I don't have a system to play them on. And I'm a big believer in if you don't own the system, you don't buy the game. I need to back out of that and just start buying.
Well, when you know somebody who already has all the systems, you want to make sure they work.
Right.
Like, hey, I got the 64 game, make sure it works.
Okay, so I have a couple here. The Kotars. Now, as being a gamer, I never owned these. Yes, I've never played them. I only know the stories. I hear they're probably the greatest, one of the greatest Star Wars games.
The first one is definitely one of the greatest. The second one lacks a little bit, because they ran out of time to make it. The first one's made by BioWare. The second one's made by Obsidian. Yeah. Simply because BioWare's like, we don't want to make the same game again. So they went off to do Jade Empire, and then they got it.
Still eluding me.
Jade Empire is. Oh, that one time we found it for so cheap, and it was empty.
Yeah.
Hey, that store is has a. Dude, that Metroid Prime one was in a plastic case. Yeah. You had to take up and they unlock it. It was empty.
Yeah. They don't even check them. But so I was back where I grew up in Bloomington, and I was going to an antique store with my mother. That's what she likes to do, and I found a series / games that I have been really hunting and I've never found. And it's Dot Hack Sign. If you know an anime, I'm a big anime person, so but the thing with these Dot Hack Sign games is they all come with a DVD. You can only get the DVD, from my knowledge, in the game. So, and they're not cheap. I found it for $5, and I flipped out. The second I saw it, I was like, oh, Lord have mercy, here we go. That's the first one I picked up, hopefully many more, but our location does not have very many of them.
No.
So I have never seen these on the shelves. I've never even seen the anime series on the shelves, anywhere.
You know what? I see those every once in a blue moon. They're not very common. I've actually seen more of them up north. Go figure.
We need to make a trip of that.
We do. Now, this next one I bought, more newer release, the HD Twilight Princess bundle with the amiibo. You bought this too.
Yes, I did.
You actually played through it because I haven't yet.
It's one of my favorite Zelda games. I absolutely love it.
I mean, of course, I played the game on the Wii. That's where I played it. That's the one I don't own now because I sold a lot of my stuff. I bought the GameCube version, and I got this one. I didn't even put it in to see if it worked because I knew it was brand new.
Oh yeah.
No, but of course I did open it, and I had to check out the amiibo inside.
Amiibo looks fantastic.
Now, is there content you can only access with the amiibo?
You have to open the amiibo to use the content. That's why my amiibo has not been opened. I don't care. It's just an extra dungeon.
Maybe if I'm ever out and there's like a loose one, I might just go ahead and buy it.
Yeah, and then what we can do is we can switch. Ooh, hazy. We can switch them back and forth because I'd like to see what the new content is, but really, I don't care. I love the game. That's all.
I don't want to open the amiibo. See, that's the thing, is that like a lot of people are just like rip open. I don't care. Me, I'm just like, man, you know what? I'm not a big amiibo collector, so I want the ones I want, and I want to just hang them up and have them as showpieces. They're really cool figures.
I'm an amiibo collector, so I'm not gonna open any of them. All right, so moving to so I got God of War: Chains of Olympus. It's a fantastic game. One of the reasons why I bought this is inside, and I chuckled when I saw it. Is the actual promotional poster for PS3.
I love those stuff.
I love these little knickknacks that you find here when people keep the whole thing. It makes it, it brings you back to when you first open it. Because I got this game with my PSP with National Treasury when I bought my PSP 2000. And I had to have this. Like, I'm still hunting the National Treasury. When I find it, I'll buy it.
The actual UMD?
Yeah, just because.
Now, when I bought, I think it was like an Xbox game. I think it was Crimson Skies. It was the one with the Microsoft store. That had like the free Xbox Live insert and all that stuff.
Yeah, I love that. And then Dragoneer's Aria. Yeah, I said it right this time. Yeah. We said it on the podcast, and I murdered it. But it's actually really fun. I've actually got about an hour and a half in it, and it's kind of open world. Run around, like kind of back top view. It's kind of hard to explain, but you run around and then you fight right there on the spot. It's really fun. I actually am looking forward to getting time to sit down and play through it because it looks like it's a lot of fun. Actually, go Amazon. You made me buy this by saying, "Say, since you bought all these other games, what about this one?" Well, good for you.
Tell you what, man, Amazon is pretty.
Amazon's the best.
Now, I'm a big PS1 collector, as anybody else knows. So if I ever find a PS1 game I don't have, I jump on that crap.
Yep.
Blasto. This was on my demo disc. I have a personal goal. The demo disc that came with my system and all the playable games on it, I must own the copy because I played all of them to death. Because I had 2 games. The wrestling game I got with it when I got the PlayStation, and then the demo disc. Blasto was on there. Now, Phil Hartman voiced Blasto. It is a fun 3D, stupid-ass adventure. It was really cool to find this. They actually had 2 of them when I went to go buy it.
Yes, I remember.
And unfortunately, more recently, I was gonna buy Oddworld, Abe's Exodus, and it was gone when I went back.
I saw that. That'd be a good pickup.
But so unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to get that. But.
So for mine, I'm going to go ahead and put all my Vita games together because I bought these all at separate times, but they're Vita, they're small. Sword Art Online, Lost Song. I'm a big anime fan. I love Sword Art Online. Picked this up for the story. Unfortunate that is not English translated, but I really don't care. It's a good game.
You can read it.
You can read it. It's really good. It's actually an extension of the story. It's a completely new story. It's really good.
That's cool. I like it when they do that.
That's what I like. And then Persona 4. I wonder who told me to get that.
Oh, dude. Great game.
I'm a Final Fantasy guy. I love the JRPGs. I love the style. I love the artwork. So this was a good pickup. I actually got to the first rain and stopped. And then Freedom Wars. I actually played through about 70% of this game. It is very fun. It is open world. It would be a lot funner if we could link up and play.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But it's really good. It's a Japanese RPG. I don't know what else to explain to you. It's very quirky. It's basically you're prisoners and you're trying to work off your million-year sentence.
I went up north and hung out with Journey to Comics co-host Nate, and we go game hunting usually when I go up there.
Right.
And for the first time, they didn't have much that I actually wanted. I should say that they didn't have much that I wanted.
As you know, the pictures you sent me, They do
have a lot of stuff, okay. But when you're getting to a point when you're trying to be selective about, okay, I already got this, already got this, already got this, already got this. What do I get? Right. So they have about 8 copies of Jeanne d'Arc or Joan of Arc, which is it's a tactical RPG. So I picked it up finally. I'm like, they got so many copies of it. I'm just gonna grab one. Now I got Grandia. For the PS1. I mentioned I'm a big PS1 guy. This one was on a different demo disc. If you remember, the official US PlayStation magazine used to come with a demo disc every month.
That's where I got.
That's where I played. Yeah, that's where I played Grandia for the first time. And of course, I picked up Grandia 2 a long time ago for the Dreamcast. So I definitely wanted to have the first one to go with it.
Right. And then my last actual game is that's the game that I've been addicted to for quite some time. Final Fantasy Explorers. It's a new release. I really look forward to it. It's basically a mix. It's Monster Hunter Final Fantasy. That's the best way to put it. You can get summons, you can harvest them. It's really fun. It's really fun. I actually like it a lot. And it is, you can actually create uniforms to be Cloud or Lightning or
Barks. Did you say you got Barks?
I got Barks. And then you can also be, wow, you're gonna hit me for this one. 8.
Squall.
And he get his. I actually made his gunblade just because it's really cool looking. So
Badass. This next one, I got 2 here. I don't think I bought these together, but for the 360, I got Far Cry Instincts Predator, which is basically, it is an HD. Let's use that term. This was one of the first ports, so like how they're doing now, when they said we're bringing an older game and putting it on a newer system with like newer graphics. They did this with Far Cry Instincts, but the Predator one is the expansion.
it is.
So this is the first one and the expansion together, both of them for the 360.
And it's a good game.
It is.
I own the original.
It is a good game, and finding that for the 360 for very cheap, that was awesome because I was just going to get them on the Xbox and that be done with it. But I have the original on the Xbox, now I have that, so I have the 2-in-1.
Right.
Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door.
I remember when you found that one.
Now, I bought this from my local disc replay, and normally this game goes for about $40, and they had it for 20. So, all right. Actually, let's just say this: it was marked 40. So,
Right.
you know what? There are times when you overpay for stuff, but just because you want to get it out of the way.
Yep.
It's how often you come across it. In our area, retro gaming, we have a lot of stores, but man, sometimes you just run into the same games. Sports, a lot of sports. Shooters.
Call of Duty.
You know, there are times when you'll get lucky. You know, I've seen this around before, but I've only seen it a couple times since I've been collecting, so I decided to get it.
Especially a GameCube game, as our GameCube games are very limited here.
The big GameCube games.
Yes.
You'll find a lot of your trash, or I don't want to call it trash, but your third party, nobody really cares about games.
Yep.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Great game,
Great game,
but
but
I mean,
You can get it on any other system.
yeah, exactly, stuff like that. And for this, it is a bestseller for people who just cannot stand to look at this. I don't care. It's gotten to a
It's a
point.
great game.
You know, at first when I first started collecting PS1 games, I passed up games because they were green label.
Not me. If they're there, I'm buying them.
Now, so see, the thing is, now I don't care.
Right.
It got to a point where I'm like, I started doing that. I started being like an elitist, and then I'm like, no more. So, Player's Choice didn't bug me. So our camera turned off.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with that. So if you see a shift, it's because of that. Anyway, continue on my story. I go up there, and I pick this up, $40. Lay it down. He scans it, $20. Boom! There it is, man. $20 game. Awesome. I am happy. Get it home. It starts booting up to the first opening cinematic. Error. Error message I've never seen before.
Right.
Bring it to your house. Try it out on your system. Error.
Same error.
So I bring it back in, and I'm like, yeah, you guys probably don't have another copy. They did.
Yeah.
No case, but they had a copy, and they let me keep this case. I don't know if the disc is supposed to look different for the one systems or for the
I don't
Player's
know
Choice. But hey, man, you can't beat that.
No. Alright, so jumping into the systems here, we're going to jump into my 3DS. Now, I actually have a grip that I purchased that I absolutely love. But I had a original 3DS. And it was time to upgrade. And I had a 20% off coupon.
Well, see, I actually went in around Christmas and upgraded mine.
Yep.
Because I got $100 for Christmas. Traded those in. If that was like what, $75 trade-in value?
Something like that, yeah.
So that mixed with that was pretty much my new console. And I told you about it, and you're like, I don't really know a reason to do it. And I'm like, dude, you got to. You might even use the 3D on it. I mean, it's a little bit better.
Yeah,
And-
I enjoy it. It's really good. It's a better system. I mean,
And then when you do get games like the Kingdom Hearts games or whatever
Right.
that do really use the C stick for the other analog stick,
right.
it's built right in, so you don't have to worry about tracking down a circle pad that fits your 3DS because they have one for the smaller, one for
Right.
the bigger. And you can order those on Nintendo, but I've seen them go out of stock and then not have them back in stock for a long time.
Right, it's just like this case is actually from Japan. It is, I've never seen it here before, but the feature that I didn't know, I gotta have something for my hands. I can't hold these I have fairly large hands and I can't hold them for a long period of time, so I have to buy a grip for everyone. You'll see them on my consoles. But it came with a little surprise. It actually comes with a holder for your games.
That's cool.
I had no idea. It was really neat, and I think it doubles as like a stand if you really need to, but nobody
For
uses
people who
that.
really want to watch Netflix,
Right,
YouTube on their 3DS.
Ooh, but it was a good pickup. It was a, I really actually was not wanting to part with my 3DS. I really like my 3DS. And I rolled it around for about a week. And I finally broke down and we went and got it.
Yeah, I was there when you picked that up.
Yep.
Now, just 2 months ago now, Uncharted 4 came out, so I wanted to replay the original 3, and I figured why not pick up the PS4 version
Right.
with the little bit shinier graphics. Now, that's not a reason to pick it up. If you already own the other ones, they are just fine. But one thing that this does, that it actually changes the shoot button from the R1, which is the old school PlayStation shoot button,
Right.
to the trigger. So now, the controls are very similar, except for the reload button and throwing grenade button. They swapped those around for 4. So if you play 4 and go back to 1, you're going to be throwing some grenades when you're trying to reload your gun. Just saying. But great games. Absolutely great games. This one took me by surprise by how good it was. And maybe it's only as good because you played through all of these first. On its own, it's still good, but there's a lot of like character development that's done because of what happened with the other games.
Right.
So definitely, man, there isn't a bad game in the bunch. The first one is probably the worst one, but that's because it was the first one.
Yep. Alright. Going into the Vita. I did purchase a Vita. You actually talked me into it.
Mhm.
It's a good system. I actually enjoy it.
It is the most underrated handheld.
Yeah, I actually
Yeah,
now
that's
am
good.
deferring my games from, instead of getting the PS4 games that are coming out, like a lot of the remakes are coming out, like I actually still got Final Fantasy X and X-2, or yeah, X-2, because I didn't have one of these yet. I kind of wish I would have got it for this. I like having my RPGs portable.
Me too.
I mean, I think that's all RPGers really. They like being able to, hey, I got like 10 minutes to grind because they're very grindy. I love it. It's actually Don't Starve. Me and my little lady are big Don't Starve fans. I probably have more hours in Don't Starve than I do in any other game that I own, other than 7. But it's a great system. If you don't have one, I highly recommend picking one up because you can still play your PS1 classics on here. You can, a lot of the new games that are coming out on PS4, like your indie games, are able, now you can, if you purchase them on your PS4 or your Vita,
You get the other one.
You get the other one.
Yep.
So it's a great thing to have. I love the system, and as you can see, I have another lovely case that actually doubles my battery life. It's really good. I like it.
Oh yeah. I got some Wii stuff to talk about here. Now, the first one I got Pikmin 3, the original copy. The new one that came out, that is the player's choice, was $20. Finally lowered the original price, the used price down enough, because I remember we were actually on an episode of the Game Addicts. Was it Game Addicts or was it before Game Addicts?
I think it was Journey.
I think for anybody that is just watching this, we have podcasts here on the channel, and of course, before we would talk about game stuff on just Journey the Comics, but we've splintered off. Well, we talked about some of the more expensive games out there, and this used was going for like $60, $70.
$70.
Brand new, it was even higher. I got this for $15.
I got mine for 20, brand new.
Well, yours was the brand new re-release.
No. Mine was the original. I got the original, and it was in the original packaging.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. I might have the other one. I'll have to double check.
Well, I got another Wii game, No More Heroes. This is a really cool kind of beat 'em up game. I've heard the second one's a lot deeper, so I'm really looking forward to getting that one as well. Pretty cheap though. And this one, I believe both games ended up coming to the PS3 because of the move.
Yeah.
Now, these next two, you were kind of jealous of.
This one, I owned one of these. I've actually owned all of the Tales of Symphonia. It's actually every copy.
So, Final Fantasy, Crystal Chronicles, Echoes of Time for the Wii, and Tales of Symphonia, Dawn of the New World. Now,
that's the second one. But the Final Fantasy one, when you walked up to me and said, "Look what I found," I tried to rip it out of your hands.
yeah, well, okay. Of course, Tales of Symphonia is one of your favorite games of all
Yes.
time. And I played it and I enjoyed it. I have not beaten it, but to find this on its own, it was pretty. I think both of these were like $17 for the both of them.
Something like that.
Yeah, not too bad. And I was actually that day I was going to get that All-World game.
Yeah.
Until I found these, and I was only going to spend $20 that day.
That's a much better pickup than
oh yes, it was. And this game, the Final Fantasy game, is actually a Wii port of the DS version.
Yep.
which I didn't even know. I just kind of opened it up, and the screen was smaller and it had 2 screens. I'm like, something's going on here.
I will pick up the DS version, but I was very jealous. Going into my lovely Christmas theme, this is, and he actually found it for me. It was a funny story here. I had said, I'm buying a PSP today. You said, okay, I'll go to Disc Replay first. I had some stuff to do before. All I see is on my phone blowing up with, oh my god, they have the green one. Oh my god, they have the Metal Gear one.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and picked it up, and sad to say, and you can still, I haven't found it yet. I still haven't found Peace Walker for the PSP.
You know, thankfully, Peace Walker isn't that hard of a game to find.
It's not, and it's brand new really on Amazon. It's not that much.
I think I bought it for $15.
Yeah,
it's the greatest hits version, but still.
It doesn't matter.
But that case you got for it was really cool, because that was the first one you bought of the whole case series.
Yes.
And it isn't like a Monster Hunter.
It is actually a Monster Hunter exclusive one. They had a black one, but it kind of looks weird with the
It reminds me of Christmas.
It looks very Christmas.
PSP.
It does, but all in all, it was the first grip that I got, and actually the next grip that I purchased was the Nyko extended battery for the Vita.
Now, that was the day that the guy's like, oh, hey, we got some games in for that system, too.
Yes, and that's when me and you almost had Knockout Drag Out.
Well, because that was the day I got the 2 Ease games that were in the last video. Now, I've got 2 more, so hey, this is actually going to work out.
I know.
A coworker of ours sent me a message, says, hey, found this Game Gear pack with some games. Any price, we just want to get rid of them. And so I offered her a price, but it doesn't work. So I'm going to have to actually doctor it up and replace the capacitors, because
Big break.
it doesn't work, but it's in really good condition. It really is, and I was really happy. She just gave it to me because it didn't work.
Right.
And then I got 6 games with it.
The games alone were.
Well, and then
Manuals.
Yeah, I got a couple manuals for some of the games, Sonic the Hedgehog and Magical Puzzle Popples. And then this is a little promotional material for the Game Gear.
I love those.
And then, so I said some of the games. So I got Sonic. So there's Sonic. And then Columns. Castle of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse.
Ooh.
And then over here, the other one's Magical Puzzle Popples. This one is a Japanese import of some sorts. I don't know if it was how it was got over here. I've never heard of it either. So, Arch Rivals basketball game, and then the best one of all, World Class Leaderboard Golf.
Woo! Best game ever.
But that was just really cool of her just to give that to me, because now it's going to be my next big project, is to get this thing working again. And you know what's funny is that they actually released a TV tuner for this, where you can pick up Airwaves TV,
Wow.
and it was in color on your screen.
That's pretty neat.
It won't work now because they digitized everything.
Right.
But there's actually an AV in, and you can jimmy it up to where you can play any console you own on this as a screen. The screen's terrible, but I watched a video on YouTube the other day of somebody playing his 360 on his Game Gear. That was really cool.
Good for him. All right, so my next pickup, I actually picked this up yesterday. I own a PS2, and I told myself I will never buy a PS1. I have no need for one unless I find the Slim. Well, I found the Slim while I was shopping for wedding stuff. So
right there.
I saw it, and I was like,
I wonder where you went to find wedding stuff that you found a PS1.
I actually went to a large antique store to sell it here. It's not really an antique store, it's a sell it here place. And, they don't really have you. Sometimes you can find stuff that is, that's actually, like I said, that's where I found the dot hack sign, which, it should have been a $30 game, $5. You can find good deals in there because they just want to get rid of them. So they had this up, and I saw it, and I instantly stopped, and I was like, okay, I'm looking through, making sure that it's fairly priced correctly, and it was, so I picked it up. And it works. I tested it out last night. But an interesting thing about this is it actually has a different adapter.
It does.
And that's really weird because Sony really sticks to kind of the same adapter that they have for years and years.
You know what? There's only a few consoles over the years that have had DVS. This one,
Yep.
and then the large fat PS3 had the big almost like the PC style.
Yeah,
of
that
like,
huge one.
yeah.
So they usually always stick to the same style of plug, and I thought it was neat to have this. And I don't need it, but it's really cool collection piece. I know where I can get a TV.
Hell yeah.
But it's very expensive, so I do want to get the TV just to have it and be like, I have the Slim with the Slim TV.
See, because I actually got one of those, and I bought that from Rob. I've only used it a couple times because, like you, I got the PS2 hooked up.
Yep.
So for my setup, it's a lot easier just to have that. But it's really awesome because I think I have this, and I have my original PS1.
Oh wow!
The old school one that my memory card slot stopped working, so I had to use the Game Shark memory cards to even play anything on it. My last pickup, another coworker. We just started talking about games one day, and she goes, "Oh yeah, I play some games," and she's mostly on PC,
right?
Playing stuff, and she's like, she's thinking about getting into consoles again. She, and we just started talking about games, and she started talking about some games she used to play in the past. She started telling me, "Oh, this awesome N64 game I had," and she started describing the game to me. I'm like, "That's not a 64 game."
Right.
It is a 64 game. She goes, "You sure?" I'm positive because I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's Demon's Crest for the Super Nintendo.
That's good.
A spin-off of the Ghouls and Ghosts and Goblins series. And there's actually 3 of these games. One of them's on the Game Boy, and I think the other one might be on the Nintendo. I need to double check and figure out which ones, because I want to say this is the 3rd one. But awesome game. This one got on more of the expensive side in more recent years. We got it. We cut a deal. I paid less for it, and she got more than if she would have taken it to a store for it.
Funny thing about that, we've seen that 2 or 3 times.
You know
at our local HQ, or gaming HQ now.
Used to be Game Exchange. Yeah,
Yep.
I saw it in there, going for a straight $100. So I'm glad to say I did pay under $100. I'm very glad to say I did. But she also got a pretty good deal on the other end of that. So
Right.
Definitely excited to have this. Rob is extremely jealous.
Yeah.
He was over here yesterday.
He's somewhere here, I think.
He's always here,
Yeah.
but he's definitely shaking his fist at me. He really wants this, so I may have to try and find a way to get him a copy somehow. Just that that way he can sleep at night.
And that's it. That's the last episode. So I did film one more, and it's gone. I think I just deleted it. I gave up on it. And I think I justified it by having it be like, well, you know what? The last one I did was a great game to go out on. And I had Mike there, and we could just transition that into the podcast. I'm pretty sure I talked about all those games on the podcast as well. But that's it, guys. That's all I got. Me and Mike will be back at you next week to talk about all the cool stuff that came out of Gamescom. I just, while this was playing, I saw the gameplay trailer for that new Predator game coming out for the PlayStation. It looks kind of cool. I'm not an online guy, but it looks kind of cool. Until then, guys, check us out on all of our social medias: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Game Addicts Play. Hit us up on there. Check out the podcast or on the podcast services I mentioned earlier. Check us out on live on Twitch. We're also on Mixer. We're on Facebook Live. We're on YouTube now live. We stream the live show usually on Wednesdays. The schedule should be going back to normal. We'll see. It's kind of up in the air. We will let you know. As soon as we have a definitive answer, we will let you guys know. Maybe on the next episode, we'll be able to give you a good definitive answer about the schedule. But we're going to try and keep that as constant as we can. And if it changes, we'll let you know. But guys, thank you guys so much. Again, from the bottom of my heart, for Mike, thank you guys for watching, listening, following along. It's always awesome to hear from you guys. Don't be shy. Email us. Hit us up on the social medias. Comment along on the live stream. We had an episode or two ago. We had, we had a guy comment along and said that he's been watching ever since episode 20, and he just wanted to say hey and that he loves the show. That's awesome to hear. That honestly, that kind of brought a pause to my momentum as far as doing the show. I was like, oh, right here in the feels. Guys, I've been Brando, and I'll see you next time here on the Game Addicts Podcast. Have a good one, and game on.